Mark here for Mark 2.0. Well, most of you think that Pedro Pascal is the one who does everything for the Mandalorian lead character. That couldn't be further from the truth. And we're here to explain. Pedro Pascal does the voiceover work for the Mandalorian, and he is in any scenes where the Mandalorian's helmet is removed, which is rarely ever. The dangerous stunts are done by Lateef Crowder. The actor playing the Mandalorian in the majority of the scenes is Brendan Wayne. We sat down with Brendan Wayne for a 5-part exclusive interview with Brendan Wayne. If you haven't seen parts 1 through 3, you definitely want to check those out, as there is no other place where you can get an in-depth exclusive look at the Mandalorian. I mean, he played the Mandalorian. He explains different scenes, what it was like filming, you name it. He also talks about his life as a high school girls soccer coach. We chime in on that. Mark 2.0 brings you an exclusive 5-part interview. This is part 4. Please enjoy.
I'm glad I didn't have girls, just because I would be so overly protective, you know.
Okay, but okay, you say that, right? But why? See that, like, you think, oh, you need protection, right? Because guys, the world is, and it's so much bigger than, or you do what I did, and you bring that kid to the boxing gym while you're working out as a baby, and then they want to do it, and then you put them in the same sports. You treat them as individuals. You don't, like, they're intrinsically, whether it's genetic, whatever.
Yeah.
I've found this, whatever they are. But like my middle child, Simone, that girl's right hand is as heavy a right hand as I've ever caught on a mitt. Or when she will mess with her mom, not like angry, but like her mom will be like, ha, and her mom's like, like this little, and Simone, like, she'll throw a slap and I'll be like, oh, Simone, you can't do that to your mother. You and I can play that way, but you're going to hurt your mom. And like, it's jacked. And like my 13-year-old, she's like me. She's like, compared to my brothers, like rail thin, like super fast. So I'm always talking to her about, you better keep your hands fast. And this kid, and I'm talking like from a young age, I'm like, keep your hands fast. Anybody goes to, grab you or hold you, you hit them right in that Adam's apple, knock them, they can't breathe, and get clear, not stay there and fight. Like, I always, anybody I talk to who wants to get in a fight, I'm like, get out of it as fast as you get into it. But this kid, like,
hooked her on the field.
Oh, I told you. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And she fucking put her fist right in his throat. So, like, to me, I go, if they're boys, I'd worry about them. But since they're girls, and I made them aware, I didn't scare them.
I'm going to get in trouble for doing something to that boy who hooked.
Yeah.
You did what I would have did. See, the funny thing was the school was calling you like your daughter did something wrong, but you went in there like, fuck that. She hooked him. I would have done the same thing.
But that's it. But like, people think, oh, well, if you have girls, and trust me, I did.
And I would get in trouble for doing shit like that.
Yeah, but I just didn't treat them any differently. Like, people go, oh, did you raise them as boys? I'm like, I raised them as individuals. Like, you look at your boy, you have 2 boys?
Yeah.
So they're not the same people, right?
One has fearlessness, one has all kinds of fear.
Yeah.
I
have it. And they show it in different places in their life, those imbalances, right?
Yeah.
From my oldest to my youngest. If you don't recognize them individually, not boy or girl, that's where you fail. Like, boy or girl, I mean, what? Paint your room pink? Like,
yeah.
Whatever. Until 1940, I think it was 1. Pink was 100% a masculine color.
Remember pink houses in America? Little pink houses.
Yeah, you and me. Let's go, John. But like, I mean, think about it. Like,
you're right.
And then all of a sudden it became a guy in a pink thing. Dude, I have a pink jacket that I love. Like, and I'm gonna wear it. Like, whatever. It doesn't make me present. It's just something I love. It's a fucking color. Get out of here. with your
Yeah.
fucking labels.
Right.
Stop labeling everything because
Gosh,
it
what
takes
is
away,
doing that? Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
it goes to tribalism at that point, and we lose
Sure.
community. So
Yeah.
step up, step out, recognize individualism. That's what we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need to quit fanning the flame on these stupid,
Oh,
find our
them.
similarities instead of our differences.
exactly.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes.
My God. So
I mean,
I
what private school did you go to?
Me?
Well, mine was called Rancho Solano.
Oh, I know Rancho Solano.
And yeah. I was, yeah. It was pretty nice. It was pretty nice, but I actually went into the public schools too later,
Oh, you did?
because, and I just kind of graduated early, and then,
Okay.
so,
Is that what it's like when you're smart? You get to do things like that?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
I may
I
have
started
walked
working,
in high school, but I'm pretty sure I graduated later.
That's what made him a Star Wars genius. A walking encyclopedia of Star Wars.
Yes. Now wait, where did you
World
go?
renowned. I was in Michigan. I went to you're gonna laugh at this. Did you go to grade school?
Yeah.
I went to IHM. You know what we were called? I have money. IHM.
Oh,
Dude,
that's
I mean,
hilarious.
it's funny. We had money. Brian's gonna laugh at this because this is gonna date myself. Up until like I think it was sixth grade, we had Commodore computers. We didn't. Then we get these PCs. We're working off of Commodore. So I'm bringing in Star Wars on a floppy disk, and we're all playing it at lunch, and
That
we're all
is
doing
hilarious.
this. Yeah.
Okay, just here, let's put it in perspective. We had no computers.
Oh, you're right.
I'm way
Yeah.
older than that. Yeah.
Good
I
point.
had typing. We on typewriter. I think my
Yeah.
senior year they had computers in the typing room.
Oh,
I
I
never
remember
saw
those
a computer.
typewriters. Yeah.
I literally
my-
took a typing class.
Yeah.
Yes, I bro Damien, it's that mentally crazy human being, would just smack the shit. Like anytime you would look away from the paper and look at the keyboard, you would get the tar beat out of you. Like just I'm gonna beat you down. Oh my God, I'll never forget that typer. Oh man, yeah. But then my mom had a computer, and like my brothers, they understood like 2.0 and
Oh,
floppy, and I was like, I'm good. I'm gonna go outside. I'm gonna go outside.
Yeah.
I
gonna
think it
go
was
play
still
Jenga.
referred to as word processing at that point for me.
I
yeah,
think
right.
so.
I don't
Wow.
even think it was called computer anything,
Dude,
Oh,
now
God,
that
that's
you say
hilarious.
this, I think of my buddy's dad, my best friend, like from a kid, Alex Damer. His dad, Fred Damer, worked for Rocketdyne. He was literally an immigrant who ran away from World War II with his family,
Wow.
from like Germany, Poland border. Had to get out of there. Bombers trying to kill him. They're in a wagon. He ends up out in South Dakota. Comes out here, right?
Yeah.
He's absolutely
Wow.
so brilliant. He built his own computer in his garage. Like it was like one of those 80s kids movies,
Yeah.
and he's showing me this computer, and I like, he looked at me and he goes, I'm losing you, aren't I? Like, Bert heard his own voice.
Wow.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about, but my brother Dave knows. So I like, let's go get Dave over. And they would sit there in front of this computer
Yeah.
and program stuff. And I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you guys are geniuses.
Oh,
Like, I don't even
man.
know how to use the home phone. And
I
yeah,
do. I admire those people
Yeah.
writing code and stuff like that. Oh my
Oh,
God.
that's unreal. Yeah. You got a
crazy.
special skill. Yeah.
So we're supposed to be talking about soccer though.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, we
So, I
can
mean,
talk at it for a minute. Hold on. Let me put my jersey on, Brendan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll merge
There
this
you go.
into your daughter's, the talk of your daughter's team. Oh man. Oh yeah, here we go.
There we go,
This is
Brendan.
cool.
Yeah.
So I thought it was funny. I was watching the how you didn't always like soccer. You referred
No,
to it as like
it
a
was
comedy
yeah.
sport. I spit my drink out when I reheard that. I was laughing so hard, And but I've
I'm
never really
unapologetic about it. Like I admit I was wrong. I was
You didn't even
100%
play,
wrong.
did you? You never
No.
played, did you? Yeah.
Somebody, I told you I got brought out there by my dad. Guy kicked me. I punched him, and he was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, we're gonna put you in football."
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, "Yeah, I'm done." And then it was always, like My whole life growing up was rivalries. Boston, I hated them.
Yeah.
I even hated Philadelphia because they swept us in the
Yeah.
finals.
Detroit?
You know what? You want to know something funny about Detroit? I loved what Detroit was, like what they represented.
Yeah, sort of, because I grew up in Michigan. Yeah.
Yeah, uh, what's his name? Morris, right?
Oh,
Wasn't
Mahorn?
it Jack Morris? No, Jack
Oh, you're
Morris.
talking about
I'm talking about
Detroit
baseball.
Tigers.
Detroit.
Oh.
I hate the
Oh, you
Pistons.
hated the Pistons.
I hate
the
the
conversation's
Pistons
over
still.
now. I'm kidding.
No, I hate Isaiah and his crew.
Lambeer,
and
you cannot stand.
And I hate Rasheed Wallace and his crew.
Oh,
Lambeer,
yeah, they beat your Lakers.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
right.
I literally Lambeer. I won't say it. It's not.
Here's a funny
you have
story
nothing
about
nice to say.
Lambeer. Funny story. I used to. So I told you last time my room turned into John Wayne's shrine.
Yes.
So
yes,
when I was
love
growing
this.
up, I would have.
How perfect is that? Wow.
When I was
So
growing
cool.
up, on my door, I had a Bill Lambier poster, and my
No.
friends would all write on it. Seriously, Bill Lambier poster, Dan Marino poster, Matumbo one with the rainbow nuggets.
Yes.
It was
Oh
just
God.
great, and I come home one year and it's all John Wayne's shrine, which was cool, badass. But
what a big difference.
But no, we love the Bad Boy Pistons. We were taught, and it's funny because I always liked Chicago sports too, but for some reason I like the Pistons, and we were taught to like hate the Bulls. We were taught
Right.
we'd have basketball, we sucked at basketball, but we'd have practice and he'd be like, Isaiah, you would hate our coach because he'd be like, all right, well, Isaiah Thomas does this. And we'd have that one person on our team who's a Bulls fan. And it's like,
Yeah, like I'd be like looking at that coach going, yeah, is Isaiah here? Because
and the
We're in
only
trouble
sport that we
otherwise.
were good at was soccer. And you know how we were good at soccer? Get this. We had a guy, one of my classmates, Nick Jackson. He did missionary work at an orphanage in Romania. So he learned in Italy soccer. He came back.
Oh my
we
God.
were just dominant. In the playoffs, we always sucked though, but we were like undefeated. Well, I remember one year we got into the playoffs, and this being a Catholic, we're playing St. John. I think we played St. John Vianney. It was at St. John Vianney, and it was a shootout, and we lose. And we're all pissed off.
Oh.
We're all heartbroken. My dad's like, it's just a game. And then I had to go to my sister's swimming. And funny thing about soccer is I would have to cut out early to go in to my sister's swim meets because she was in high school. And the coach was cool as heck. We had one guy, who was there. Another guy was Irish from Ireland, Mr. Steely. He was great. But I remember my coach, Mr. McReynolds, he's like, did you finish your 100 throw-ins yet? He was pissed, and I deck out early from practice. I'm like, I have to go to and it's funny, his daughter was on the swim team with my sister.
Your sister.
Like, don't you understand, man?
That's when you're like, hey, either I go with you, coach, or I go with my parents.
But we were the worst at basketball. And there's some funny stories there. Like one time we were playing Holy Spirit. We're down like 35-0. I come in and pull this Hoosiers move, and just like I'm inspired by the movie Hoosiers. I just go in there and they're like, where did you pull that? We're like down by like 35 points. They're like, where did you pull that jump shot?
You're like, I don't know, and I don't care. I'm staying with it.
But this is this is like Polish Catholic, this is West Michigan. So we have all these schools, which ones are poor, which ones have money, you go in. And it's funny because there was a carpet gym. And when we played baseball, we didn't have enough people. So we combined with this St. Stephen's, they had a carpet gym. We were practicing baseball in 30, since it was 30 degrees out in the carpet gym. Using wiffle ball bats.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I always wondered that, like the cold weather, like one of my coaches, Brandon, he's from Buffalo.
Oh yeah.
And he ended up going to London to play footy, play soccer.
Yeah.
And then came back and went to college back east, and my niece, she went to Fordham to play soccer. And I always just think like my daughter went to BU. And you see the snow on the ground, and I am an absolute, like, there's a lot of things I'll do, but I'll never live in the snow.
No, not anymore. I'm
like,
done.
No chance, especially like dirty snow. Like
sure,
no, I hate it. So I don't know how y'all did it. Like,
No, it
more
was nuts
impressed with
driving
that,
in
like,
it, you know.
but I mean, still, you like the commitment, and I know it's you grew up in it, it's your environment, that's what you know. But it's still like to me, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm gonna pass on that, coach. Thanks.
Oh
No
yeah.
chance. No.
It's funny
I
too,
grew up
you
in
know,
Phoenix,
yeah.
so but the thing is, the cool thing about Arizona is you can go a little bit, just a little into the mountains and get
Yeah, and get
a
some
little
snow.
bit of snow, so you can like actually dial your snow down a little bit to just
Yeah, you can leave
literally in
it.
30
That's what I
minutes.
love about LA. You can leave the snow.
I know what
Tell
you
me,
mean.
guys, why do you figure so many kids want to play soccer, but soccer doesn't have such a firm hold like the other major sports? Tell me,
Well,
Brandon, why is that?
it's here. That's here. Worldwide, it was.
It's the biggest
Well,
sport
that's
in the
what I mean.
world.
Why not here?
Because we were, and until recently, think about it, like we didn't want to do what anyone, we were individuals, right? You know, like,
Oh yeah.
no,
That's what I would say. You know what I would say before I met you too. We're fucking cowboys.
we are
Yeah.
like,
That's what Americans are.
Oh, yeah.
We
And
want
that's-
the danger. We don't want to be
it's-
bubble wrapped in.
it's not just Americans. Think about it. Like, what built America was the immigration, right?
Yeah.
You know, like this, my grandparents on my pop side, they came over on a boat from Italy to have a better life. And they got it because they could, because there was opportunity, because they could earn it.
Yeah.
So when I would ask people, I went out and did Home of the Brave with Sam Jackson. And
Neat.
I was like, yeah, and you know, like it's Jessica Biel, by the way, too.
Oh yeah, I've seen it. I
Young
know
Jessica,
exactly what you're
like,
talking about. Yeah.
But like I remember laughing at Sam about him, you know, having fans there. And then he went and told all the extras who we're in northern Africa, right? He told them, hey, that's John Wayne's grandson.
Wow.
And these people came up, and I mean like 400,
Yeah.
standing outside my trailer because we had this big battle scene that I was about to have. Hey, can I get your autograph? And had pictures of my grandfather. And
Oh my
I
God.
very rarely
Yeah.
get surprised, but this was one of those things where you're like,
You're in Northern
Why?
Africa, and he was famous 70 years ago.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
I mean, wow.
And
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
looking at these guys like, what does he represent to you? Like movie star? Because I was wondering if it was that simple.
Mhm.
Because, you know, Sam Jackson there, he's movie star. He's present day. I get it. But it wasn't. It was because the men said, I loved that he did what he thought was right, and he always did it no matter the consequence.
Yeah.
So like the idea of sacrifice to get what you wanted, that was right, what you believed in, and the freedom to have that belief, which that's what we have here,
Yeah.
is right or wrong, your belief, you have the right to have it. And there's always repercussions one way or another, good, bad, indifferent, but you have that right. And if you're willing to fight for it, you can. And that's what because that's when I went, well, that's why he's a global icon. He's not a global movie star. He's beyond that. His representation was something else. And why, you know, why do they still show The Searchers in France, and I can't think of the theater, once a week, and it's sold out every week? Like, why does that matter? Even to this day. And it's because it wasn't about politics or anything. It was about character and the characters he portrayed. Now, like, if you know the human who was my grandfather, and you know the people he portrayed, then you know he was a magnificent actor. Because even though he was playing people who failed and he overcame it, that's literally the characters became something more than him, and he honored them and the audience that loved it by continuing to be there. And so you know, that to me is everything. When you go, wow, you didn't just do it here. You went from this nation at a time when we didn't have internet and all these things, and reached around and brought everybody in with the hope that you could do something bigger and better. Now, there were presidents who backed that and supported that, you know, and that's a pretty amazing thing to to be a part of and to know was possible because it was from your flesh and blood. So you make sure you do your part in your little pond you swim in, me specifically. It's real important, you know. So yeah, like the idea of walking into a John Wayne room, while I would have loved it, my mom was like, no chance, because you're not him and you need to definitely live in your fucking shoes and earn your rights, because that's what he did. That's his. Other people, they love it, so honor it. So yeah, I mean, that's
Nice.
I don't know.
That's what you
No.
did. That is what you did, you know, and this thing is just escalating too, and you're gonna have to probably deal with quite a bit of fame after season 3 takes off, because it's
Sure.
spawning many other things too. And like you said, you kind of saved
I was
Disney.
I was hoping that I was going to be doing this Western that's shooting out in New Mexico because
Oh,
of,
wow.
you know, like kind of being brought out at Celebration and them recognizing, you know, like the public recognizing, oh wait, he's not a stunt guy. I've never been paid for a stunt, never literally. It hasn't quite happened yet. Although I've read some incredible scripts and auditioned for some things, so maybe if I raise my acting a little.
Yeah.
But you know, it's regardless of that, you know, Mando's amazing.
Mhm.
And I'm able to have the anonymity that we've spoken of. And so I don't mind it. I don't need to trade it. I don't need that kind of fame. I'm going to service my business side, obviously, but fame isn't important to me. People talk about legacy. I think that's kind of a weird thing to hold in your mouth. I think somebody else needs to do that. But if somebody said to me, what do you want your legacy to be? That in my career of being an actor, they enjoyed my work. He had fun in the stories that I was able to be a part of. But in my non-working life, that I made a difference, both through the way I
Yeah.
raised my children and in the way I
Mhm.
interacted in the world around me. Those are things that I go, okay, legacy. But
Sure.
you know, like some other people, I don't know, like you think of John, he had the star, he had his star unveiled today.
Really?
Yeah. And that's a whole different kind of legacy, you know. Like my grandfather's out there, I got a uncle out there who's got a, you know, star on the Walk of Fame. That's some heavy stuff. Would I flinch at it? No, but that's not something I need.
No.
I have so many things, like, you know, being able to sit and have these conversations. You know,
Sure.
I saw how busy like Rosario, even Ming, you know, they are in their constant scheduling and hey, I need to be here to do this. And when I do, you know, when I sign on for things, I don't want to ever have to balance it with anything else. So like if I'm
Mhm.
doing Mando, I don't take anything, not one more thing, not because
Yeah.
they contracted
Good.
me not to. I don't do it because I said I'm doing this. So my focus is
Sure.
going to be here. And if
Sweet.
that,
Yeah.
you know, if that screws me, it screws me. I'll find a different.
It's making the show good, dude. It's making the show. Not only that, I mean, it must get. I mean, what are you gonna? They have so much stuff going on. What I'm really impressed with is how many moves you have to do, like just for one episode. It's like
There's a
unreal.
lot
Yeah.
going on. And you know, we try to limit like as many people as we can, like different sets we have to have going. So I'd rather work a 16-hour day than split 8 hours with somebody else, because I've spent so much time with Mando that I feel like I don't want to have to hope that somebody else gets it. And I don't want to hear, you know, the crew come back and go, Jesus, it was like, you know, watching bread toast, you know, I need, you know, I need this or that. And that's important to me, you know, that we do go there. And I know it's important to the production and everything. So I don't mean to imply that I'm more important than anything. I just know that how I feel about it is to approach it with
Oh,
the
yeah.
focus of, I'm giving you me. I'm here. I signed. I'm going.
Mhm.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And if I can do that, then I think it makes it easier for everyone else who's, maybe that one day they're having a bad day. Now they're not having such a bad day because they're like, hey, you know what? I can choose to be happy. I can choose to be fortunate. And then if I
Yeah.
need to change something, I'll do it outside of here. That's always the way I look at it.
Yeah.
Do you I bet you get like doing so many different things that once they put it all together, you're kind of seeing it for the first time, right? I mean,
I can't wait to see some of the stuff I've done.
yeah, I was just going to
Yeah.
ask you. So, are you
Mhm.
still going to be excited when it comes out on March 1st? Like
I mean,
all of
beyond
us?
the fact that I don't
Oh.
read anybody else's part of their script unless
Yeah.
it's in our scene, I don't, they've said, hey, you can come while we're editing. First of all, the editor's amazing. But
So that was my next question. If you were like, I want to see it, I want to see it, they would have showed you, right?
yeah, well, they would absolutely. They're very cool about that. I just, I approach it like sports. When I'm done, I leave it on the field.
Yeah.
If I can learn something from it and it's presented in, game film, then I can learn something from it. And John's great about that. And it's like, hey, I was watching some stuff and you gotta, I'd like you to add this, or I need you to calm down this kind of movement. It looks weird. I need to make sure that these things are where they need to be, like something like that. And then at that point, I go, oh, okay, I can learn something from it. But otherwise, I just want to enjoy it from the other perspective, the audience perspective. So I can sit and watch it with my kids.
Cool.
And that they can, either be impressed or unimpressed. Sometimes they're impressed and they're like, that was good. I was like, hey, thanks.
Yeah.
And that's when I get a big head, honestly. Like, I love that the fans love the show, but I know how much goes into it. So I know that I'm one part of a million, and we're all important as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So, I love that the fans love it, but I know that that's also out of my control. But when my kids like what they see me doing, that's when I get a big head, and not like I walk out of the house and I'm like, ha ha, I'm the Mando.
Yeah.
It's more like I
Yeah.
just kind of, it's like, chicken soup for the soul. So
Yeah.
I love it. Like that's where you're like, all right, I did something.
Yeah.
That
That's
was
awesome.
me because I
That's
impressed my kid once.
Seriously.
Yeah.
You know what? I have to thank you because you helped me impress my kids, because I'm like, I know the Mandalorian. You want to call him? We can call him right now.
Yeah.
And they're like,
Exactly.
FaceTime me.
I'm like,
FaceTime me. And he just
Yeah.
text me, say, hey, put on the helmet. I got the kids. I gotta
Oh, there you
do
go.
this. I'll throw on the helmet.
Yeah.
Oh,
Boom.
that's great. One day I will pull that card out. They
Dude,
will
do it.
die.
I will 100% do it.
Oh, thanks, man. That's so cool.
Yes.
Well, how long have we kept you here,
No,
Brendan?
this has been about 2 hours. One thing I did want to
Oh.
say, Brendan.
Yeah.
That went fast. Oh my God! Yeah.
Since I
2
sent
hours.
you that jersey, I thought that AC Milan had the curse of the Mandalorian. They since the beginning of the year, they only won one game. Or I think they
I
won
know.
one game in January. Did you notice?
Yeah. Oh,
They
yeah.
they finally won 1-0 Friday. They had won their division, Serie A last year.
Yeah. And now they're just, I'm telling you though,
But you don't follow the Italian league, do you?
no, now I do because of this. So it's kind of like
okay.
somebody introduced me to Premier League when I had my daughter. Now and I did look, but I didn't watch it.
Well,
all
I
the
figured
time.
you're Italian. Some
Yes.
of the
Well,
players have their first name on the back, and
Yes. So
You know?
now I'm like, all right, I want to move there. So I better get used to it,
Yeah.
But I since the beginning of the year, since the break, Arsenal have not looked good.
Oh yeah, okay.
We have not finished well.
Sure.
So I do go outside to get some enjoyment because like I freak out. Like
Oh yeah.
my kids aren't allowed to be in the room unless they're going to just focus, because otherwise I lose
Now, did you
My
watch the
mom.
World Cup too, or no?
Oh yeah, I mean Messi, like, and I'm gonna go. I'm trying to find a way to go to Australia to watch the women's. Okay,
Okay,
but
nice.
I already have plans with a really good friend of mine, Mike, uh, who's a crazy Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
Um, he, we're gonna go to the World Cup. I want to try to do Canada,
Oh yeah,
California,
it's
and
coming. Yeah,
Mexico. Yeah, I want to do all three
it's
though.
coming
Like, I
to
want to find
Texas
a.
too, Houston.
Yeah, Houston. I think Boston's got some
Yeah, you're
too.
right. Yeah.
Uh, but I mean, I 100% want to see, try to get it guaranteed here. But if I can get a in the other
Well, there
two,
was just so
I
many
will.
feel-good stories of the World Cup. Look at Japan. They've
I,
improved vastly, and the fans cleaning up the stadium. Did you see that?
it was so beautiful.
Yeah.
And then even even the Moroccans and
Oh yeah.
like and the PSG, not PSG, France and
Oh, I
Argentina
love
and
France. Yeah, that was
and
the best game
me.
ever. That's the thing.
Yes, and I'm screaming at my daughters, we, because I lived in Argentina for 6 months and
Oh
used to
wow.
watch the juniors practice on the
Yeah.
sand right by where I was because my sister lived out there. So I go I think of Argentina, I think of Messi as like I love his story.
Oh yeah,
Everything
I know.
he overcome, his talent mixed with his hard work, which they all have,
Yeah.
versus this, embarrassment of riches that the France team has. Like
I know.
they had or 3 or 5 players who would have started the final if they were healthy, yet they were still in the final. Like,
Oh
in spite
yeah.
of the fact that they were missing, Benzema.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting there watching this game. It's 2-0. The worst score in soccer if you're a coach. Like, it's the
Sure.
worst score.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Guaranteed there's going to be a comeback. And it
Yeah.
doesn't take much. And my daughter looks over and goes, I feel bad for France. I sure hope, they make it kind of like a game of it. And I literally was like, my wife was like, go out of the room right now. Your daughter's
Wow.
going to lose it. I was like, what is wrong with you? Why would you fucking? And then, of course, it's
Wow.
2-2. And they're going
Yeah.
and we're lucky to go to overtime
Sure.
because the goalie, Emiliano, whatever, he stopped Mbappe's shot with his
Yeah.
foot. Like, I'm still freaked out by it. And then the PKs and the ruthlessness that is Messi. I
Yeah.
mean, like his PK and where he put it and how he stared at that goalie, like, yeah, I just put it by your right foot and you didn't get it. Like, it was
Sure.
like, that was Mando. Like, to me, honestly, like, I had a moment in my head where I'm like, that's still, go back and watch it.
What did you think of that Netherlands game too? I'm a big Netherlands because I feel for Netherlands that
yeah,
they've
but
never
how about
won. You know what I mean?
What did Messi do?
Oh
He honored those who came before him because
Yeah.
that coach dishonored them in his mind.
Yeah.
And so when he did what he did, it was
Yeah.
absolutely a statement back. Like, I'm sorry,
Vendetta.
but
Wow.
100%.
Yeah.
That is, to me, I was like, oh, Messi, that's Mando and all the droids. He hates those droids.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
maybe
is
you should
that
great.
get
was
Messi
playback.
on the maybe you should get Messi or Ronaldo on the Mandalorian.
Watch Ronaldo's got to, he's got to be, they can't put anything over his face. That would be a waste.
Yeah, good
Messi,
point.
Watch Messi's PK
Yeah.
and watch how slow his movement gets and how he does that stare.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
telling you right now, all you need to do is CGI a cowboy hat and he
Sure.
does the famous grim stare from the old days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is slow and methodical. And he's like, and he
Yeah.
moves on. It's so great.
That's beautiful.